While Darshini was suffering from unbearable pain in the labor ward of Lady Dr. V. Antony Maternity Hospital due to a natural delivery, a bet was going on between her husband Shiva and Tony. Tony was busy making a bet with his close friend Shiva, who had studied with him in the university. Tony had made this bet either to joke around in his own way or to refresh Shiva's mood, who was just wandering around with tension. Look, Shiva, your twins will be in the black, Tony said. Why are you saying this? Shiva asked. Because before you became my friend, you used to criticize my blackness so much. Before my marriage, you challenged me, that white Akshata would not marry me, but you lost that bet. Yes, I remember well. You didn't just marry her. After marriage, you turned Akshata into Nancy. Then this time you can be bold and place a bet. I won't place a bet. When both Darshini and I are white, that is fair. There's no way the children born will be black. Then Nancy, who was sitting on a long steel bench installed outside the labor ward, said, You two are going to bet somewhere at an ungodly hour. Look at what's written on the board opposite. When Nancy caught their attention, they both looked away. The sign said, Keep silence. They both fell silent after seeing the board. But it was not in their nature to remain silent for long. So they both got up and went to the cafeteria outside to have coffee. So, if I have lost a bet once, I have won most of the time. But if I am not right this time, I will stop betting with you. Tony, at least don't tell me about quitting betting. By the way, even though you are a heart patient, you have not stopped smoking cigarettes, so you will not stop betting with me. Tell me one thing, if you win this challenge, what movie will you show me? Tony teased him again. When I say I don't want to bet with you, where does the question of showing you a movie arise? I think I had a happy delivery. According to Dr. Anthony, Darshini has low hemoglobin and the delivery was complicated. Shiva, you don't have to worry about it. Dr. Anthony is a good doctor in this city. He has handled more complicated cases than this. The most important thing is that he always tries to deliver normally. He only does a cesarean delivery in case of emergency, Tony said. From what you are saying, it seems you have already received the report of every delivery that Dr. Anthony performs, said Shiva. You seem to have forgotten that he is a doctor with expertise in all things from our Red Cross Society. Forget all that. I am ready to place a bet. That is, Darshini's delivery will be normal. Both of their coffee cups were empty. After Tony paid the bill, they both came to where Nancy was sitting. When they reached there, the nurse who came out of the labor ward gave her some good news. It was a cesarean delivery and both the babies were girls. Surprisingly, both the babies that were born were black. Sister, can I go in to meet my wife? Shiva asked. And the nurse said, No, sir, you can't go right now. The cleaning is going on. We will shift them to the private ward in a little while. Then you can go and see. Madam, only you can go in, she said, looking at Nancy. Nancy went inside with the nurse. Then both the friends sat on the bench. Then Tony said, It's a good thing you didn't bet, otherwise you would have lost. Let's forget about that. First of all, tell me which hotel you will treat me to on the occasion of receiving my good wishes and giving birth to two Kanya Ratnas. He laughed out loudly as it was his nature. Then his attention went to Shiva's face and stopping his smile he asked, Why are you sad today instead of happy and why are you staring at me like this? When Tony pressed him, Shiva came out of some deep thought and said, You didn't call them gems. Gems are never black. Black is always considered bad, he said. No, Shiva, the color black has its own significance. How dark is my color too? Tell me what I lack. A beautiful wife, Nancy, and a good reputation and a good friend like you. Tony, who was still talking, saw Shiva sitting with his face down like a blown bulb. and asked, "You have a strange nature. Instead of being happy, you have a sad face. What is going on in your mind? I am also trying to control my destiny." As soon as he heard this from Shiva, Tony informed him, "Look, Shiva, there is no child happiness written for me and Nancy. If Nancy had not had her uterus removed due to uterine cancer and she had become pregnant, I would have wanted a girl. Recently, women have become more important than men. You probably don't know what is the new dialogue of married boys." Tony kept talking. "What?" Shiva asked. "When I walk in the morning in the park of the apartment, I usually hear seniors give examples of their married children." Tony continued. "One of them gave the examples of his son saying, 'Everyone died in COVID, but how long till will this old man live?' He tested positive for COVID, but the old man overcame it and returned home." Another man was saying about his son. "But Shiva, I have never seen anyone speak badly about their daughters. It seems that so many daughters, seeing the pitiful condition of their fathers, take them with them," he said. "Tony, not all sons think like this. Our neighbor Manoj's two sons also take special care of their elderly in-laws who have recovered from corona," he said, showing that he was not silent. As he was saying this, Tony said, "Shiva, I am ready to make a bet with you on this matter. Manoj's service may be backed by lakhs of rupees, capital or land assets." Their conversation continued further. Meanwhile, Nancy came closer and said, "Tony, I have never seen such beautiful children. Even though they are black, in my 30 years of life, one child is like a shadow falling on a rose, another is as charming as a glowing night," she said. "You got the opportunity to study Kannada as an option in college along with English. That is why you have started giving such beautiful parables," Tony told Nancy happily, as was his nature. "What is wrong with this Shiva brother? Instead of being happy, why is he so sad?" Her attention had gone to Shiva. "He is watching Darshini in betting. I have told him so many times that if he is going to bet with me, do it with me," Tony said, laughing again. Tony burst out laughing again to lighten the mood. However, seeing him still sitting seriously, Nancy said, "Shiva Anna, now Darshini has been shifted to the private ward. Let's go and sit there and talk. You will be happy to see both the children. Both the children are very cute. I have even named them Sindhu and Bindu," she said. They got up from there and went towards the private room. Tired after a long delivery, but seeing the children kicking their legs happily next to each other, she could not sleep. Nancy gave Shiva a chair to sit by Darshini's bed and said, "We will come back tomorrow after finishing the online class," and they both left. In the days that followed, Tony was also the chairman of the Christian Welfare Society and was busy organizing the annual function of the society. But Nancy was the only one who kept coming and going to the hospital until Darshini was discharged. After discharge, she took Darshini to her mother's house. She felt that only if she was with her mother would she get proper care. Later, when Nancy came to meet Darshini at her mother's house, Shiva found himself lost in deep thought. Shiva had started spending most of his time at the bank. Whenever he came home late after handling the responsibilities of his manager's post, he would find Nancy sitting with Darshini. Shiva behaved as if it was wrong for him to even sit near small children, let alone hold them. Time passed like this. Both the children were starting to recognize Nancy's touch. How could they not recognize her? She was their elder sister, wasn't she? Earlier, she used to call herself Akshata as Darshini's older sister. While she was doing her MA in English literature at university, a cheerful, dark skinned man named Tony entered her life. Despite the opposition of her mother and in laws, she married Tony and converted to Christianity. The father had left this world long ago. After that, one of the daughters of the joint family had gone abroad and settled, so the aunt also did not stay for long. They had to shoulder the responsibility of both their children and the maid. After the death of Darshini and Akshata's father, their uncle had taken care of them. When Akshata went away, he was initially a little upset. Later, when Darshini consulted Nancy for an operation for an ulcer, Tony, through the influence of his acquaintance, took her to his own society's charitable hospital and had the operation done, and so he started showing so much affection for Nancy and Tony. After that, both Nancy and Tony used to visit their house frequently, but their uncle did not live long. After Shiva was appointed as an officer in the bank, Tony used to stay at the guest house of the welfare society for a few days. One day, when Tony came to congratulate Darshini on getting her MSc degree with Nancy, Nancy's mother said, "Nancy, you should find a boy like Tony for Darshini. I am getting old too. When will I be able to say anything? If any desire remains in the mind, then the mind will wander alone." Hearing his mother in law's words, Tony laughed out loud and said, "When life dies, it also takes the mind with it. Who will wander around when the mind also goes with it?" "Why are you? You have started betting with your mother in law too. Do you think there are any boys in your eyes?" When Nancy said this, Tony stared at Darshini without batting an eye. Seeing her staring at him like this, Darshini asked, "Why are you looking at me like this?" "That's the reason I look at you like this. I wonder why no boy has fallen for such a fair-skinned, beautiful girl. My name is Darshini, not Akshata. Someone has fallen for her." Okay, my friend is a PO in a bank. He also says that no girl can fool him. The surprising thing is that he is very smart, good looking. Nancy knows him very well. Then talk to him. He might like Darshini. Auntie, I have complete confidence in him. He cannot possibly reject Darshini. It turned out to be true. Shiva liked Darshini from the first meeting. Tony took on a huge responsibility to get them married. After the wedding, Darshini stayed at her in-laws' house for a few days and then moved into the office quarters provided by the bank. Tony and Nancy would visit them from time to time. Sometimes Tony would come to his wife's sister's house alone to have coffee. Tony was a cheerful person. He would make bets with anyone in his speech. Darshini always had a secret about her sister's husband and their relationship. In addition, Darshini's mother respected Tony because he had helped Darshini find a boy. Over time, Darshini became pregnant. Dr. Anthony examined Darshini and told Shiva that twins were growing in her womb. Since then, Shiva had been reacting in a strange way. Darshini told him, "How can you be so scared? You are pregnant yourself." "You are kidding me. I am the only one who is worried. How can you, with such a thin body, carry two children?" "According to what I know about the uterus, it can change its size as per the need. Am I the only one who is giving birth to twins in this world?" How 9 months passed, Shiva did not know. Meanwhile, Darshini was observing the movements in her stomach with great curiosity. She was also experiencing that pain as if it was very pleasant. The consequences of that were now in front of her. She had picked up both the little girls and had gone to her experienced mother's house. Nancy used to come to that house every day. The children were crying at night. Sindhu and Bindu started to flourish under Amma's care, and Tony also came there often and talked to everyone in a way that would win their hearts. He asked Darshini, "When will Shiva return from the bank?" Seeing her downcast face, he said to Amma, "Auntie, whenever I come here, I never meet Shiva. Yes, Tony, when he came here a week ago, he was saying that the work pressure at the bank has increased recently. The government has introduced so many financial schemes that he gets so tired of disbursing loans and distributing government grants to beneficiaries that he ends up staying at the guest house there at night. Have you eaten again? They eat at the bank canteen there. Darshini spoke this time. Okay, said Tony, picking up both the children in turn and then handing them over to Amma. Drinking the coffee Darshini had made and leaving. The next day he reached the bank directly. When he inquired about the staff there, it was found that he had been on leave for the past 10 days. Without giving them any answer, he came to the parking lot from there, sat in the car, and was lost in deep thought. Nancy had met him at Amma's house just 10 days ago. He has grown a bird. She couldn't tell what he was thinking. Nancy said, whenever Darshini asked him something, he would look at her strangely. Whenever she would take the children in front of him, he would shout loudly, don't bring these children in front of me. I have no interest in these children. Tony, Shiva has stopped coming home. He has blocked Darshini's number. Nancy had told him everything. Sitting in the car, Tony was lost in thought again. The pressure of the bank job also comes to mind. But how can he be without seeing his wife and the children he just had? Where could he have gone on leave? He hasn't come home for 5 days. That is, it has been 5 days since he took leave. His attention accidentally went to both the children. Could the fact that the children were born black be the reason for him to run away? Is it a curse to be born black? Am I not black too? My parents never experienced this as long as I was alive. No child were born black color in our family before him. They raised him so well. They gave him a high education. Along with being a father in the church, he also thought about the upliftment of the home and society. He built a hospital and a school and college through a charitable trust. If I have any respect for him today, it is because he ran them well, right? But where did this Shiva go? Because of his close friendship with him, he shared so many of his joys and innermost thoughts. But this time something was running through his mind. He didn't even call him. As if thinking about calling, Tony picked up his mobile and dialed Shiva's number. It said it was out of network area. Hearing that, his mind was troubled. Tony started the car. When Nancy told her about this, she also became worried. Then she said, let's go to Darshini right now. She might have received some message. Both of them went to her with good expectations. Tony and Nancy started laughing happily as they looked at the two children who were born a month and a half ago. But Darshini's face was sad. If you looked at her eyes, you could tell that she had been crying all night. Nancy took Darshini to a separate room and asked her, how did you get yourself into such a situation? And where can this Shiva go without telling you? Did he give you any reason? Darshini did not say anything. She gave Nancy a letter that came from the courier. Nancy read the letter and became worried. Can this be true? I have heard a lot about this before. Shiva's suspicions may be true. Children who are exactly the same color as Tony. Could it be the result of Tony and Darshini's intimate relationship? Tony often used to go to Darshini's house for coffee when she was in the officers' quarters. He had the ability to lure anyone into his trap by making bets and talking charmingly. Long ago, before marriage, she had also entrusted her everything to Tony. Could it be that Darshini was also caught in his love net? She read the letter and looked at Darshini's face for a while as she read it. Tony was so absorbed in talking to the children in his mother's room that it seemed as if the children were understanding him. Then Shiva's voice echoed. Suddenly, bursting in through the door and screaming loudly, Nancy and Darshini also stopped their conversation at the sound of Shiva's angry voice and walked towards Amma's room in panic. A bird, red eyes, drunk, swear words coming out of his mouth. Shiva was walking towards Tony at a fast pace. Before his hands could reach Tony's neck, Darshini and Nancy intervened. They used all their strength to stop Shiva from going towards Tony. Then Darshini shouted, "What are you mad at? Why are you behaving so badly with him? You have not asked me anything for 5 days. You have not even asked about the children. Why did you send a letter through courier instead of coming to meet me? I think you probably wrote it after losing your mind due to alcohol. Don't come in between. I will tell you later. First, fight this poisonous snake. He is a person who brings a stain on friendship. These two black babies are his. The result of a black operation. My children can never be black. Such people turn the women of the family into prostitutes." "Shiva!" Darshini and Nancy shouted simultaneously. Amma did not understand anything. She came closer and asked, "Who made you drink so much? And you were talking about something. Earlier you were praising Tony a lot, were you not?" Tony had been holding himself together till now. He pushed everyone away from Shiva and said to Nancy, "Nancy, you take Amma and Darshini and go inside. I will clear his misconceptions and get rid of his drunkenness." Taking Amma, Nancy and Darshini sat on the couch near the children who were sleeping in the same crib. They were afraid that a fight might break out between the two, so their attention was on Tony and Shiva, who were in the next room. Both the children were busy with themselves, kicking their legs loudly. Darshini had fed the children a full stomach just a short while ago. Tony looked into Shiva's eyes and said, "You don't have to beat me to death. I am standing right in front of you. Do as you wish. But the reason why your eyes are red is because of the seed of doubt that has grown inside you. Since the time these twins were born with my dark complexion, you have been thinking that they are the result of my and Darshini's illicit relationship. That is why you have decided to leave your children and wife at your mother's house and stay in the bank quarters and not come to meet anyone, right?" he asked. "Yes, my thinking is not wrong. If your element had not gone in Darshini's womb, so many dark-skinned children would not have been born. In my absence, you used to come to meet her often, did you not?" Shiva shouted. "Yes, that is true. Since your bank's quarters are on the way to my welfare society, I used to go to your house often to drink Darshini's delicious coffee and to inquire about the well-being of all of you," said Tony. "But your destiny was not right. Whether my destiny was right or not, Darshini herself can tell, or my soul. The solution to this should be a DNA test. I never thought about it. If you and Darshini were related and both children were born in your color, then the question would have arisen in front of me. If you had not come now, I would have known this truth from Darshini." She was also about to say something. "So, along with all of our DNA tests, it is essential that you also get your DNA test done. Because it is not new for two people of the opposite sex to have sexual desires and change in that act in a moment of solitude," said Shiva. "Okay, if you two doubt me, I am ready to get my DNA test done. But this time I will put a written condition on a stamp paper for all of you," said Tony. "What is the word condition in this?" "Yes, there is a condition in this too. That too in writing. It will have everyone's signatures. How justice will be served to the winners depends on Amma's decision. What punishment should be given to the losers in it. She should say what the punishment is. Shiva, you have no objection to this condition, right?" "Tony, don't act so honest. Tell me what your condition is." Shiva's intoxication had completely subsided. He sat on a nearby chair and stared at Tony. "If my DNA report doesn't match the children, then one of the two children should be given to me legally. If it does match, then both the children are mine. It is my responsibility to study them and make them doctors." Seeing that everyone was thinking after hearing Tony's words, Amma asked, "Is this condition necessary?" "Yes, mother-in-law, this is not just a question of my honor, but I do not like anyone pointing fingers at you about this. Today, this friend of mine came to beat me. If you see that, it would be right to go far away from this city in a defeated state, Tony said and stood up. He gestured for Nancy to leave for home. Then, telling Darshini to pay attention to Shiva, he went to the crib where the children were and started looking at him lovingly. Then he went to his mother-in-law and said, "Mother-in-law, I am leaving now. I will come tomorrow morning with the lawyer with the stamp paper. After that, we will go for the DNA test." When Tony left with Nancy, Darshini took Shiva to the room and put him to sleep, putting her shoulder on his shoulder. "You sleep comfortably. Instead of complaining about my character and the black color of the children, comparing them to the color of your heart, if you had shared your thoughts with me, this situation would have not arisen. How did the idea of beating them to death come to your mind? If you had suspected the children as soon as they were born, you should have blamed me and strangled me." Shiva, who had remained calm until now, said, "Darshini, I also wanted to do the same, but with you, these children would have had to be called murderers. You could have been killed very easily. I wandered around here and there for 5 days with this thought. Once I thought that instead of doing all this, I should end myself. But the next moment I felt that Tony was the one who was guilty of all this. These black children were his gift. I went to the bar in this state. I drank too much. From there I went straight to Tony's house. I saw that his house was locked and came here." "Didn't you do all this to say that these children were born out of wedlock? If you had picked up these children and listened to their heartbeats, you would have been convinced. These children are a gift of your love. The results of everyone's DNA test show that." But before that, the legal conditions that Tony has set and is bringing the papers according to which if we win the condition, we will lose. We will have to lose one child. If we lose the condition, we will have to lose both children. What difference does that make? When the test report comes, you will know which is milk and which is water. So you don't trust my words." Shiva did not say anything to that. He changed his position and went to sleep. Darshini was silent for a while and then changed her position and went to sleep. She also said to Shiva, "Will you grant me a request for tonight?" "What request?" "My wish is that both the children should sleep on this bed between us tonight." "What will happen?" "I don't know what will happen, but you can save yourself from at least one of your mistakes. That is, the children did not sleep with their father even for a day after their birth." "Okay, I will agree to your request for one day." That night the children were sleeping next to Shiva. Shiva felt the touch of the children's small hands. He turned around and turned to the children. When he felt them close to him, their heartbeats felt like they were having a conversation. In the morning, Tony had come with Nancy, having typed a paper containing the legal conditions. Instead of a smile, a serious shade had covered his face. The lawyer who had come with him obtained the signatures of all the people. When the DNA test report came, there was no match between Tony's DNA and the children's DNA. It clearly mentioned that Shiva's DNA matched the children's. According to the condition made earlier, Shiva and Darshini had to give one of their children to Tony and Nancy. The child who came to Nancy was named Bindu. Look away from Shiva as you can see. The child moved, bending down from Nancy's lap and crying. Bindu seemed to ask her father, "Father, it is not my fault. You separated me from my mother too. Is it okay to separate me from my sister?" Today it has been 1 year since this incident. Tony and Nancy left for Bengaluru for faraway Delhi. Shiva too got a promotion and got transferred to the head office of the Mumbai bank. He took Sindhu and left for Mumbai. Bindu's milk still fills Darshini's breasts. Then she writhes in pain. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel.